The Oklahoma coach just let it fly, and no, she didn't hold back when talking about Caitlin Clark. This wasn't your usual coach speak or sideline diplomacy. It was real, it was raw, and it instantly got the internet buzzing. What she said wasn't just about the game. It hit on pride, legacy, and a whole lot of competitive fire. And yes, she may have dropped the spiciest one-liner of the season so far. So now the question is, was it a shot, a joke, or just truth that stings? Let's break it all down, because this moment deserves more than just a headline. There are moments in sports where someone says something in passing, maybe even with a grin, and the whole world suddenly perks up. That's exactly what happened when Oklahoma's head coach Jennie Baranczyk sat down for that pregame presser, gave a warm shout-out to her alma mater, Iowa, and then boom, dropped the line that hit harder than anything else in the room. First I just want to, I got into coaching because I loved my experience. I loved playing basketball. And a lot of times people get into coaching for different reasons, but I did it because I loved it. And so obviously Iowa always has a place in your heart, and then there's people that are still there. And, even when they had their kind of trouble part of their season, and it's easy to still cheer for them and want them to do well. And we know that every time you step into your game against them, both teams want to win, and that's okay. Now look, we all know the deal. That line wasn't meant to be taken 100% literally. Jennie Baranczyk isn't out here trying to erase Caitlin Clark's name from the record books or act like she didn't play in a different era with a different role and system. It was tongue-in-cheek. But that doesn't mean it didn't have weight, because that line, that was layered. It was pride. It was confidence. And it was a reminder that, hey, Caitlin might be the headline, but she's not the only name that matters in this conversation. But I've played 9 straight years at Drake, so I don't have this is the first time that I'm going against Smile. I don't have that, and quite honestly, I know those are incredible storylines, and the NCAA tournament likes to do that. But I'm so excited about this team that I get to coach here, and their resiliency in this season that's been an interesting season, being the first in the SEC, and being able to see what we can do on our home floor against a really good opponent in the NCAA tournament on Monday. You can feel the competitive fire in Baranczyk's voice when she talks about Iowa. It's not bitterness, it's respect. She went there, she played there. That school shaped her career. But she's not starstruck. She's not stuck in some sentimental cloud about her alma mater. She's coaching against them now, and she's trying to win. And let's not overlook how rare that kind of authenticity is. Coaches, especially ones prepping for March Madness, are usually walking on eggshells when it comes to media. You'll hear phrases like great opponent, just focusing on our game plan, or we respect what they bring. Not Jennie. She rolled in with her own personality, made it clear where she stands, and still managed to command the room. And I want to see these fans show up, because everybody is showing up on a national level for women's basketball right now. I think we're getting there here. I really do. I think people in Oklahoma are really starting to pay attention to look how many people are in here now. You all weren't in here the first year. You all weren't necessarily in here. I mean, you've been following us and you've been great, but you're in here because people are interested in it. And so I love your interest. I love what you guys have all given. And you can start to feel that our fan base is continuing to grow. So I was lucky to go to a place that women's basketball matters. And I got to play in front of some great crowds too. Now let's rewind and talk about why this matters beyond just a funny quote. Caitlin Clark is the face of college basketball right now. She's not just scoring at historic levels, she's got mainstream reach. ESPN runs her highlights constantly. Her games get record-breaking viewership. She's on every shortlist for National Player of the Year. People are even putting her in the GOAT conversation while she's still playing. So yeah, it's easy for every other coach to shrink a little when they face Iowa. The focus on containment, damage control, survival mode. Not Jennie. She walked into that room with a smile and let the world know she's not playing scared. She's not putting Caitlin on a pedestal. And that energy, that trickles down to the players. You better believe her team heard that comment, and you better believe it meant something. Because when your coach steps to the mic and confidently says, yeah, I know who we're facing, and I've got my own story too, it hits different. It tells the locker room we're not here to be background characters in someone else's fairy tale. We've got our own story to write, and that's exactly what makes this upcoming game so fascinating. Oklahoma isn't built like Iowa. They don't have a generational scorer running the show, but what they do have is cohesion, grit, players who trust each other, and a coach who clearly knows how to use the underdog role as fuel instead of a burden. And Jennie Baranczyk, she's the perfect coach for a game like this. She's been through it all, played at the highest level, coached for years, built programs, seen different eras of the game, and now she's got a team that reflects her mindset, confident, scrappy, and ready to challenge anyone who walks through that tunnel. That's the story nobody's telling. Everyone's looking at Caitlin Clark and saying, how many points is she gonna score? Can she break another record? Will she hit logo threes in transition? Fair questions. But how about this? Can Oklahoma turn that spotlight into pressure? Because Caitlin Clark thrives on chaos. When the gym is rocking and the lights are bright, she usually steps up. But what happens when things don't go to plan, when the shots aren't falling, when the opposing bench is locked in and your every move is contested? That's where coaching matters. That's where Jennie steps in, not with a clipboard full of complicated schemes, but with calm, with confidence, with the ability to read momentum and make adjustments without panicking. That's where games are won. And look, no one's denying that Iowa has firepower. They're deep, they're battle-tested, but March is messy. The tournament doesn't care about rankings or hype. It cares about execution, about who adapts, about who wants it more that day. And that's why this press conference, this little moment, is bigger than it seems. Baranczyk wasn't just making a joke. She was shifting the tone, refusing to let the narrative be one-sided. And that is exactly what strong leadership looks like. Let's dig into that leadership a little more. Coaches are more than X's and O's. They're emotional anchors. They set the vibe. They carry the pressure so their players don't have to. And when a coach carries themselves the way Jennie did at that podium, with light-hearted confidence and a dose of competitive edge, it shows players how to handle the spotlight. It says, you don't have to shrink in big moments. You can walk in smiling and still be ready to throw punches on the court. You think her team didn't internalize that? You think her players didn't look at each other after that press conference and go, all right, let's go. Coach has our back. We've got nothing to lose. Let's go out and shock the world. That's how upsets happen. It's not just about shooting percentages or turnovers. It's about belief, about swagger. And Oklahoma is showing up with both. Now let's be real for a minute. Caitlin Clark is going to get hers. She's too good not to. She'll hit deep threes. She'll make crazy passes. She'll probably have a 20-point quarter at some point. But one player doesn't win tournaments. Teams do. And if Oklahoma can disrupt the rhythm, force turnovers, and apply pressure, this thing could get spicy. Let's also acknowledge how rare it is for a coach to speak this freely about another player. Coaches usually dodge that smoke. They'll say, she's talented, or she's a great competitor, and then move on. But Jennie leaned into it, and in doing so created a moment that fans, players, and even media will remember. And why not? The women's game is growing fast. Viewership is up. Coverage is better. But what it still needs is more of this: real personalities, storylines, coaches who aren't afraid to talk, jab, and remind everyone that they're not just seat fillers for the Final Four. Baranczyk just gave us that. And she did it without being disrespectful, without crossing lines. Just honest, clever, and sharp. Let's not pretend that doesn't matter. Now let's shift to the fan base. Oklahoma fans are built different. They show up, they're loud, they love underdog energy, and now that they've got this story, a coach going toe-to-toe with her alma mater, facing down the biggest name in the sport, they've got even more reason to show up. And Jennie called them out directly. I want to see these fans show up, because everybody is showing up on a national level for women's basketball right now. That's leadership. That's community building. That's how you get a full arena and a home court advantage. And honestly, that might be the X factor, because Caitlin's used to being the star in the building. But what happens when she's not? When the crowd is rocking for the other team? That matters, especially in a high-stakes game where every possession could swing the outcome. Let's go deeper. Baranczyk's not new to this moment. She's been through this grind. She coached at Drake for 9 years before coming to Oklahoma. And during that time, she played Iowa every single year. This ain't her first rodeo. That familiarity means she knows how Iowa operates, how their system flows, what kind of looks Clark prefers, and what adjustments they're likely to make mid-game. That insight is invaluable. It means the game plan won't be guesswork. It'll be targeted, specific, and while Clark will still find ways to impact the game, Oklahoma will be better prepared than most. And when you combine that preparation with emotion, with purpose, that's when special things happen. So let's summarize all the reasons why Jennie Baranczyk's comment hit. 1. She humanized the moment, made it less robotic, more real. 2. She showed pride in her past, while betting on her present. 3. She gave her players an emotional spark heading into a massive matchup. 4. She gave fans a reason to show up louder, prouder, and more energized. 5. She gave us all a reminder that basketball is more than stats, it's stories. You don't have to wear a jersey to shift the game. Sometimes all it takes is one well-timed quote from the right voice to change how the world sees a matchup. Jennie did that, with one line, and now the spotlight isn't just on Caitlin Clark, it's on the entire floor, because if there's one thing this tournament has taught us year after year, it's that the team with belief, trust, and unity often knocks out the favorite, and you can feel that belief brewing in Norman. Oklahoma isn't showing up for moral victories, they want the W, and with Jennie Baranczyk leading the charge, don't be shocked if they get it. Now that's how you bring some heat to March Madness. Jennie Baranczyk didn't just step to the mic, she owned it. That quote, that presence, that mindset, it all sets the tone for what's about to go down. Whether you're Team Clark or rolling with the Sooners, one thing's clear, this game just got way more interesting, so smash that like button if you're ready for some real tournament smoke. Hit that subscribe if you want more No Fluff Hoops content, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Was that a joke or low-key shade? Let's talk about it. Catch you next round.